Alderperson Evans.
Present.
Hurt.
Here.
Barnes.
Here.
Swanson. Here. Parker.
Here.
Poulos.
Here.
Healy.
Here.
And Mayor Harris.
Present.
Item 5A, Rock Island Firefighters and Police Pension Actuarial Presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. Before you tonight on tonight's agenda is the Firefighter and Police Actuarial Presentation for the contribution year ending December 31st, 2025. With us this evening virtually is Noelle Ness. She's with the city's actuarial firm, Lauterbach and Amen. So we'll both be available for any questions you might have after her presentation. So with that, I will turn it over to Noelle. Noelle, can you hear us? We cannot. Hold on one second.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, excellent. And then do the board members have the presentation in front of them?
Yes, but if you can put it up on your screen, if possible, that would be good as well for the people at home.
Absolutely. Right here. All right. Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Noelle Ness. I'm with Lauterbach and Amen, part of the actuary department here. So we're looking at this first page here, your recommended contribution and funded status. You'll have fire in the left-hand column, police in the middle right-hand column, and then the total for those two in the far right. So I'm going to state the numbers in the far right total column for you. So the current valuation recommended contribution came in at $12,114,114. Skip down a couple lines to your current valuation unfunded liability. That's at $128,192,600. And the funds are sitting at about 38% funded on actuarial value of assets base. You'll note that we have a transition plan in place for each fund. You can see the amounts noted at the bottom. So for fire, the transition plan contribution is that $5,332,70, and then for the police, the transition contribution is at $6,055,079. Moving forward one page here to your recommended contribution reconciliation. You can see the various line items and the impact of each of those changes to the recommended contribution in the column there. Again, I'll focus on the total column for you. Expected changes, that's what we expect to happen year over year. And then everything below that is anything that happened outside of expectation. So you have your salary increases were a little greater than expected for police, a little less than expected for fire. Actuarial experience, that's your demographic changes in the fund, a little bit less than we were expecting for fire, so it had a reduction effect, and then police, it had a little bit of a addition there. You'll note this assumption changes line is in effect this year. We do a comprehensive assumption study every 4 to 5 years. This takes a look at all the decrements that go into the recommended contribution development in the actuarial valuations. So that's things like your retirement rates, disability rates, termination rates, mortality rates, pay increases, inflation. And we look at that not just for the Rock Island funds, but we look at that for all the funds that we work with and any fund that we can gather data from off of the IDOI website. And then you have your asset returns coming in either greater than or less than expected, and then contributions greater than or less than expected. Overall, that net increase of about $437,000 from our prior year recommendation for you guys. Moving on to your recommended contribution breakdown, these are the two pieces that make up that recommended contribution number. First is your employer normal cost, that's your active members accruing 1 more year of service, and then your payment towards that unfunded liability, bringing us back to that $12,114,114 for the year for you. You'll note here, this is all the demographic activity that we took a look at during the fiscal year for fire. So there were 11 new hires that came on, 2 members who retired, 1 member who became disabled, 3 members who terminated, 1 member who elected to receive their contributions as a refund, and 4 retirees who passed away, 1 who had an eligible surviving spouse, and 86 inactive members continuing to collect their benefits. For police, we saw 3 members who were hired, 3 members retired, 1 member who became disabled, 8 members who terminated, 1 member who completed portability to another fund, and then a disabled retiree who passed away with an eligible surviving spouse, and 105 inactive members continuing to collect their benefits. Next up here is this agent service distribution. I'll leave it on fire here for a second. This is the active member population. In this bottom right-hand corner is entering your eligibility to retire. So there's a significant amount of people immediately eligible to retire and start receiving benefits on the fire side. And then similarly with the police side. And that feeds in here to your expected benefit payments. Currently, annually, what's going out for both fire and police is about $11,660,700 for benefit payments. If you look ahead 5 years, we'd expect to see that number jump to about $14.1 million. Over the next 10 years, we'd expect to see that number at about $16.1 million. This output smoothing is just detailing the transition plan in place and denoting both of those numbers compared to the full recommended contribution amount. And then again, for our assumption changes, just denoting everything that we took a look at during our assumption study and made updates to. We also did recognize that there were new contracts that went into effect for fire and police. Since we did our last valuations, we took a look at those just to make sure that we had the most accurate information for salaries. Then moving on to the change in fair value of assets. Again, I'll focus on this total column. Beginning of the fiscal year was at $71,734,700. After the employer contributions, member contributions, positive 9.8% return for fire, about 8.9% return for police, and then the other bills and expenses for those funds ended the year with that $78,610,000. Next up is risk management. These are a couple metrics we keep an eye on year over year for all of the reports that we do. I'll focus on the second bullet point here. In each of these, the ratio of benefit payments to the fair value of assets. For fire is currently at 17.14% compared to the expected rate of return of 7%. And then for police, the ratio is sitting at about 13.3% compared to the expected rate of return of 7%. Anything over 8% we advise is a risky area and caution the funds with that. Means you're holding more money in cash to pay benefit payments, which can, in the long term, reduce the amount that you are earning on investments. So we like to see that that ratio is closer to that 7% mark, but you guys are trending in a positive direction. Then next would be the alternative contributions. For the recommended contribution, we target 100% funded. When we calculate that number for the alternative contribution, we target 90% funded as dictated by state statute. So for that number, you'd be looking at that $10,304,613 total for the fire and police funds this year. And that is all that I have for you, but I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
So I do have a couple of questions. Can you, what is are we taking the recommendation or the state minimum requirement?
By statute, you have to.
Sure. At this point, what we have in the proposed budget is the Foster and Foster 90% state mandated.
Okay, which is less than the recommended amount by
Correct.
Lauterbach.
Which is less than Lauterbach's 100% funded.
It's about 11,500,000, I think. 590,000.
Yes.
So then the question is, how does that impact, I guess, long-term, if we're going with just the minimum requirement instead of the recommended requirement? Maybe that's a question for Lauterbach.
Yeah, if you're going to be targeting that 90% funded number provided by Foster and Foster, you're going to be ignoring 10% of that unfunded liability every year, which in turn is you're going to see kind of that number start growing as you get towards that payoff date. There's always legislative information out there right now. There's some proposals for them to kind of kick that can down the road again from 2040 to a different date, which would then even have probably more an adverse effect on you guys if you're going to target that number, because it's going to shrink that amount that they're going to provide you even more. So you're going to get further away from that 100% funded mark.
Okay, so basically that will increase our unfunded or decrease our unfunded liability, whichever. I get it confused.
It would increase your unfunded liability, and it would decrease your overall funded percentage for the pension funds.
Okay. So I guess, what's important for, the public to realize is that the majority of property taxes go toward the pension contributions. So I think for the current year, 91% of our general fund property taxes go to fund the police and fire pension contributions. So at this point, if we were to use the recommended amounts, we would probably automatically see an increase in property taxes. So even though we're taking the statutory, it's kind of like a balance. Do we want to increase the property taxes, or do we want to continue to have that unfunded liability, too? So.
Yeah, it's the line that we're trying to balance between trying to get it funded by 2040, but then also trying to keep property taxes as low as we can.
Right. That's it.
Okay. No. Thank you, Noel.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
Okay, where are we at?
Item 5B, Urban Agriculture Ordinance Presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council and everyone watching. On tonight's agenda, there is a proposed urban agriculture ordinance. There has been some confusion about what the ordinance actually says, though. Given that, I'm going to provide an overview of the ordinance and suggest how best we might move forward. One of the things that makes Rock Island special is the extensive and diverse amount of urban agricultural activity taking place here. If you keep your eyes peeled, there are passionate beekeepers all over the place looking out for pollinators. Families have designed a lot of fun chicken coops. Gardens are overflowing with homegrown food. This is all great stuff, and it establishes Rock Island as a leader in sustainable living. At the same time, with the exception of the permit required to keep chickens, City Code does not establish any common sense regulations for any of these activities. As a result, there are frequent conflicts between neighboring property owners. In the West End, there are a large number of vacant lots where blighted houses have been torn down. Over the years, more and more people have gardened on these vacant lots. Unfortunately, not all of them are very well maintained. Staff receive frequent complaints about untended gardens overrun with weeds, full of rotting vegetables, attracting unwelcome animals. Overgrown vegetation has also encroached upon the public right-of-way and onto adjacent properties. These nuisances are real problems that West End residents are right to be concerned about. The proposed ordinance would establish for the first time common sense maintenance standards for gardens. These would allow staff to issue citations when gardens are not being tended to appropriately, when nuisances exist. If there were problems, a property owner would be required to clean it up. The ordinance also would establish a buffer around every vacant lot being used in this way. The buffer would prevent encroachment onto the right-of-way and onto neighboring properties. On a typical 5,000 square foot vacant lot, these 10-foot buffers leave room for a pretty large 30-foot by 80-foot garden totaling approximately 2,400 square feet. Now, some have said this buffer is too big. Others have said it is too small. Others have objected to the requirement that it be mowed grass instead of pollinator-friendly flower beds or just plain old wood chips. Quite honestly, there's no right answer to that question. It's a compromise that adds some breathing room between neighbors. Additionally, an earlier version of this ordinance would have imposed a height restriction on any sort of vegetables being grown in front yards. Council members have provided additional feedback on this. Staff have gotten feedback too from concerned residents, and there is some agreement that that requirement should be dropped from the ordinance. The rest of the ordinance, briefly, is pretty straightforward. People can continue to keep chickens in the same way that they always have been, except they won't need a permit for it anymore. Beekeepers can continue to do their thing. They are simply asked to keep their hives a few feet from their neighbor's yard. If you own a larger property in southwest Rock Island, you would be allowed to keep livestock like horses without any special approval process. Something new. Equally important, the ordinance would allow the use of goats for vegetation control. That's my favorite bit. Much needed, I will say, in our overgrown ravines. On top of that, residents with any unique circumstances that the ordinance doesn't foresee would be able to request any variances or special use permits that they may require. Now, there are rumors that this ordinance is an attempt to ban gardening. Some people allege it violates the right to garden protected by Illinois state statute. Others have even argued that it is in conflict with Rock Island's community values. None of that is true. Gardens are welcome throughout the city, but just like everything else, they need to be maintained properly. The urban agriculture ordinance would establish common sense regulations that balance the competing needs of different residents. Far from being in conflict with the community's values, the ordinance attempts to reflect them. However, given that there are concerns that remain, staff suggest that the proposed ordinance be postponed until the first council meeting in January of 2026. This will allow more time to consider those remaining concerns and continue to seek compromise until everyone can reach a point that they are comfortable with. There's certainly room in Rock Island for every type of heirloom tomato possible, but there's no need to be throwing them at anyone either. With that, I would love to open the floor to any questions the City Council may have, and thank you.
Miles, the ordinance that's on the agenda tonight, we have discussed removing the prohibition on growing plants greater than 4 feet for properties with houses on them. Does that also apply to vacant lots?
The way that it is currently drafted, it's just the 10-foot buffer all the way around. There's no other height restriction contained therein.
For vacant lots?
On vacant lots.
So the ordinance on the agenda tonight does not prohibit growing corn, for example, on a vacant lot?
Within that 10-foot buffer, yeah.
Within the 10-foot buffer?
Yep.
Okay. Second question, I don't really understand this niche gardening portion. I don't understand what we're trying to accomplish, what that's for. Can you speak to what that's about?
So niche farming, as defined by the ordinance, is the commercial activity that would be allowed in Southwest Rock Island. It doesn't have any bearing on any sort of private residential gardening activities north of the Rock.
So if someone were to want to grow a niche produce, that doesn't ban them from doing so.
The ordinance has nothing to say about the various vegetables that people may be growing in their own residential gardens.
Thank you.
Miles, I do have a question for you. I know you're experienced and you've been here a while. My question is, over the years, how was it that a lot of our community gardens were all placed in the first ward? How did that happen? Because a lot of our issue here, a lot of the, I'm not going to say complaints, but a lot of the concerns are that if this were in other wards, we wouldn't allow it. So how did that come about to be such a thing in the first ward?
It really is all just driven by the fact that the bulk of home demolitions have been in that ward, thus creating available land for the activity to take place. There's obviously a lot of other urban agricultural activity happening throughout the city in all 7 wards on properties with occupied structures. So many folks around town are engaged in different types of gardening, beekeeping, keeping chickens in the backyard. But in the first ward, you see the predominance of these vacant lot gardens, which, are the driver of a lot of the concerns that residents have expressed.
Thank you.
So, sorry. So right now, if I have an issue with my neighbor, and this is kind of to clarify some of this, if I have an issue with my neighbor, what happens? I call inspections and say, hey, there's trash everywhere, unsightly, 5-gallon buckets everywhere. We've all seen some of these pictures. What happens?
For some of it, if it's garbage, buckets or what have you, we do have appropriate property maintenance code language to address that. The issue comes down to what does an untended garden really look like? There are no clear rules saying like how it should be planted, how it should be tended. It isn't clear to any of us on staff that we can actually issue a citation for a garden that contains, for example, rotting vegetables and other produce attracting vermin, which is a frequent complaint we get, but we don't have clear code language to address.
Miles, so it seems that, just reading a lot of comments on our city page and some of the opponents to this, it almost seems that it's the collection of rainwater seems to be a big issue. It's the 10-foot barrier. I feel like other than that, nothing has really changed from what it was prior to us trying to establish the ordinance. Am I missing something here?
I think there's 2 parts to this. The city attorney and I have talked a little bit about some of the language we might want to adjust slightly to address other concerns that folks have raised about just the nature of the language used. Some of the other concerns, I think, we need to do a little bit more messaging on and make sure people are understanding what the ordinance is intending to do. I would say with regards to rain collection, without surface area from a roof, there's not much rain that you're going to be able to collect, right? That's how it works. So if you put in a rain barrel, say, at the bottom of downspout, perfectly legit thing to do. There's nothing wrong with that. City has allowed that for a long time. We do have occasionally instances, though, where people are putting essentially plastic tubs out in the open to collect what rain there may be falling from the sky. That proves to just be a breeding ground for mosquitoes. And that is driving some concerns by residents who are seeing that, but it isn't quite clear that it's prohibited or not prohibited. We'd like to make sure there is that clarity.
Yeah, I think that's an area that I think residents would like a little bit of clarification on, and hope we can work towards figuring something out on that, because it didn't seem to be a thing back when this first came up, and now it seems to be a thing. So
yeah, and staff is cognizant of the fact that there is worry that there's maybe not clear enough language so that it's common sense enough. we can work on that if we're given a little more time.
Okay, thank you.
First of all, I want to thank you and your staff. I know this has been an issue that's been going on for a while, especially in my ward, First Ward. When I campaigned, it was one of the things that I got a lot of complaints about. What we've done is we've opened up the conversation. We want to make sure that we stay neighborly. It's not about trying to control what someone else does with their property, but we've got to make sure that we're mindful of the people that live next door to us. And to have these gardens spread out the way they are, something's got to change, considering that 95% of them are in my ward. Thank you.
Staff would note to that same effect that there are many well-tended gardens out there. No issue with that. People certainly have every right to use their own property as they see fit, so long as it does not cause harm to anyone else. And that's really the main thing here. It's often the centerpiece of a lot of the things that the council and staff have to work together on. We have different needs, and we need to do our best to try to balance those.
Can you speak on the prohibition of tool sheds? Why are we, well, first, let me clarify. Does the proposed ordinance ban tool sheds from vacant lot gardens?
It does at present have that prohibition, yes.
And what is the thinking of doing that?
Generally speaking, in most municipal codes, accessory buildings are not allowed on vacant lots without a principal structure. So it's an extension of kind of the pre-existing framework in our zoning code.
So the tool sheds are already banned by zoning code, not by this proposed ordinance?
Like many different ordinances that we prepare, we add those sorts of things for clarity because then the opposite question is brought up. So yes, it's doubling that existing language.
So if we wanted to allow tool sheds on abandoned lot gardens or vacant lot gardens, we would have to change the zoning code too?
You would have to proactively make a carve out in this ordinance to do that, or rather, that is the recommendation staff would make.
Thank you.
I would add that just from hearing from residents on both sides of the issue, that I would agree that a postponement would be good just to allow for refinement of the ordinance and to allow for community engagement. And that engagement would include the residents. It would include some of the nonprofits, definitely like Community Caring Conference and West End Revitalization. I know Alderman Parker and I attended a session at the IML conference that talked about community engagement. And I think this would just be a good example to try to, put that in place, to have that feedback from the community.
Certainly some structured feedback would be an excellent thing to do. One note that staff would throw out there, just as a reminder to everyone on council and in the public, we also have a lot of folks who are not English speakers in the community engaged in this activity. And we want to make sure that if we do have that kind of dialogue, we try to be as inclusive as possible. There are a lot of folks out there who may not immediately be able to engage in a lot of different public meetings that we would normally have. If we go forward with that kind of approach, which would be very sensible, we'll want to keep those folks in mind and make appropriate accommodations for them.
Thank you, Miles.
Thank you all very much.
Agenda item 6.
A, presentation of the 2025 Labor Day Parade Awards.
I'm so sorry I put my back here, guys. Let's keep it nice and cold. Good evening. Can everyone hear me? Okay, my name's Grace Shirk, and I have been a part of this parade for 41 years. The first year I was in it, and I loved it so much and thought it was such a wonderful thing that I decided to join the committee and help make it possible every year. So I'm honored this year to present the 41st Annual Parade Awards. But, and I know people want to get to the awards, I do too. But, this wouldn't take place if we didn't say thank you to so many people who make this parade possible. People like our wonderful officers and staff of our police and fire departments who help keep our parade safe every year. We also need to say thank you to the various members of the Public Works Department, such as Mike Bartell, Luke Van Lanigan, Tim Cavanaugh, and Rick Hitchcock. The CED department, Kathy Douglas. She makes all our maps, our signs, our banners. Again, thank you to all these people. The city's general administration department, we'd like to thank Sarah Hayden, who's out here taking pictures, for her support and promotion of our parade. From the technology department, we need to thank Director Tim Bain for his assistance, even with tonight's program. A very special thank you to all of the Parks and Recreation Department and our liaison, who is Daniel Gleason, who also runs so many wonderful programs in this city. And of course, the Weather Department. And you know who's in charge of that? The good Lord. And we had a beautiful, beautiful day, and he took care of us. So that's wonderful. We had 30 volunteers, many of them which came from the house church, and we need to thank the house church. Then there's also others that just show up the day of. We have 8 appointed advisory board members who work throughout the year, making sure everything's in place. Grace, Kay Whitley, Edna Sowards, Bill Sowards, David Diaz, Kim Nestler, Aaron Gain, and Mary Chappell, our wonderful, fearless leader. She has been a part of this since the sesquicentennial, and I need you all to give her a hand. She truly, truly makes a difference. We also need to thank the announcers, Bill and Edna Sowards, Daniel Gleason, myself. We announce at different locations throughout the parade route. Thank you to the businesses that allow us to stage in their parking lots and all over along locations along the road. The convertibles that are donated to help carry the Citizens of the Year through. We had 9 musical groups, and we have to thank the tow trucks, which helped get the musical groups through. Quad City Towing, Sharp Towing, Munson Towing, Fred Towing, Cantrell's Towing for their very important donation. And you know, these bands are not always free. We give donations to many of them, like McDonald's steps up and gives a donation to Rock Island High School Band to make them it possible that they're a part of our parade. Truth be told, I think they'd come anyway. Wheeland Presley Funeral Home sponsors Rock Ridge Marching Band. South Rock Island and Rock Island Township sponsor Grey Wolf Band. South Rock Island Township and the Shirk family sponsored the musical artist Lee Blackman. And Carmen Jewelry of Moline sponsored singer Audelia G and DJ Guerrero. And a very, we already did those guys, so we'll move on. Moving on, do you know, this started with our sesquicentennial. That was our 150th birthday celebration here in Rock Island back in 1985. And there's 6 groups that have been here every single year. So a thank you to the Associated Retired Firefighters who said they're getting really too old to walk. They need to start riding more and more. The Rock Island Fire Department, the Rock Island Milan School District, the Rock Island High School Band, the Rock Island Police Department, the Valley Construction Company, and Whitey's Ice Cream, always a crowd favorite. A special thank you to our mayor and city council. This wouldn't take place if they didn't help support us. So we need to give them a hand. And you know what? It's not just a Rock Island parade, even though we're so proud to host it. So many other communities are part of it. Do you know we get the band from Davenport. We get members from all over. The Moline people who help to pay for some of our music. The entries, the sponsorships, the people watching the parade. It's just heartwarming to see all the people that are there. And we are so successful because of the community development and that involvement, and that includes all of you, and we appreciate that. So thank you for bearing with me while I did all those thank yous, because I think they're important. And now, let's give out some awards. So Mayor, I don't know if you want to stand in front, or because we're going to get pictures with you. Okay. Sounds like a plan. So we have best awards. So this year we have a best school entry. And you know what? Our theme this year was Rockin' the Arts. Wow, did people step up with wonderful creative ideas. Are we going to get pictures on these up there? Okay, let's do Longfellow School. Theme-based banner, Longfellow Lions showcase the music arts, students, family, and staff dressed in colorful tie-dye shirts with many award walkers holding guitars. A float with a colorful arch included a few of the lions playing big rubber balls, drums, and other creative items. So very special thank you to Longfellow Liberal Arts. Could you come forward, please? Anybody? Next, we have the Quad City Italian American Society. Mona Lisa on Parade. Again, it was Rockin' the Arts, and there's all kinds of arts out there. Several members of the organization rode on a float that featured great artworks by Italian artists. And look it, we have our very own Mona Lisa with, of course, a member of the Italian American Society. It was very creative, it was fun, and congratulations. Come on down, any representatives from the Italian American Society. They are always a fun group. Okay. Now for the best church entry. We would like to show you the Refuge Church. They celebrated God's masterpiece, which celebrated young members of their church. Their float featured a large and colorful artist palette with colorful handprints from their different church members. Over 70 members walked the route and handed out treats for parade members. Please come down the Refuge Church. Okay. Next, we have the best business entry. These guys have won before. We're always excited to have the Midwest Technical Institute and see what their creative minds can come up with. Here you'll see they have the HVAC students created a float with a band using all metal instruments. So there they created their instruments. And then the bad boy welding students did a second float, and there they had metal pieces welded together to create scales of a fish. Do you get it? Scales? Music? Okay, just thought I'd try that out there. It was a real masterpiece. So could we have any representatives from the Midwest Technical Institute come down, please? Okay, we got a few more. Who likes flowers? Speaking of the flowers they talked about earlier, our best float entry comes from the Rock Island Horticultural Club. So, club members once again entered a float created with all types of plants, flowers, and other garden wonders. This year, the entry included a metal saxophone that was positioned in the center of the float of a pumpkin-headed rider. So come on down, members of the, thank you, I lost my train of thought, the Rock Island Horticulture Club, sorry. That was all of our best of. Now we get different types of awards, such as the Citizens' Choice Award. We go out and give citizens along the parade route a list of everybody in the parade, and they get to pick their choice. And then we turn around and whoever gets the most choices, they win. Who do you think got the most choices? Santa Claus. So the Quad City Arts Festival of Trees, they had a red car, they had elves, and they had Santa. So Santa and his elves did a good job of reminding people of the fast-approaching 40th Annual Festival of Trees event that starts in just 40 days. So could we have our representative from the Quad City Arts Festival of Trees come down? Then the parade board, remember those 8 people I told you about who work on the parade all year? They also vote to decide which entry they thought best did themes, even though so many of them did a wonderful job with Rockin' the Arts theme. But they decided on Denkman Elementary School. This year's theme was built on Timber Wolf Pride. Behind the school banner, there is a float with pillars that identified artwork from each grade level, as you can see up there. And so each grade was represented. They displayed their art. The student walkers wore artist aprons and carried large crayons and markers, a very creative entry. It's very cute. So thank you to the students' family and staff members. Come on down from Denkman School. Okay, guys, next, remember those people I said who helped give us money to make this possible? The Council's Choice. This year, the Council's Choice was Rule and Rule Realtors. The employees and friends walked alongside a very special and attractive house float that featured the character Bluey and carried the message, "You are never on your own." So come on down. Rule and Rule Realtors. Oh. It doesn't look like we have a representative, but we'll make sure we get that to them, or I'll take it home and keep good care of it. Okay, and last but not least, the Mayor's Cup. He gets the numero uno, big guy. And who did it go to? Skellington Manor. So come on down. What a fun entry. Look at that. Behind that vintage vehicle, there was eye-catching Skellington Manor trolley, accompanied by a lively group of spooky walkers. The wide variety of characters added to the excitement and delighted parade goers who loved it and had fun. Okay, give them another hand. Okay, let's give every one of our winners a hand because God bless them. They came up with all of these wonderful ideas and they helped make our day special. And I hope those guys hang around in the hallway so I can get a picture and show my older grandkids. They're going to think I'm cool. But next year, you, all of you could be a part of our 42nd annual parade. So we hope to see you there. Thank you all. Should I put this back?
To the young lady that told me gracias, I would like to say prego. Thank you, ma'am. And also, I would like to announce agenda items 6B and 9 have been removed from tonight's agenda. Item 7, public comment. We have 14 speakers. I would ask for there to be a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Second.
I got a first and a second. All in favor? Or excuse me, roll call, I'm sorry.
Alderperson Healy,
Nay.
Evans,
Yes.
Hurt,
Nay.
Barnes,
I'm sorry, what are we, I missed
To
it.
suspend the rules so people can have their full time talking.
To extend public comment past the 30 minutes.
Yes.
Swanson,
Nay.
Parker,
Aye.
and Poulos. Motion failed.
Okay, folks, we have 14 speakers. You have 5 minutes to talk, but to show common courtesy to the next speaker, please, if you're not going to take the whole 5 minutes, please say what you need to say, speak your piece, so we can get on to the next person. I would like to get everybody to get a chance to speak. So for the first name, I'm going to call Ms. Shelley Morguy.
Good evening. I believe that regulations pertaining to gardens in the city should be addressed and enforced. However, there is a larger issue here which I believe is hidden by this discussion about gardens. This issue involves the decades of neglect the west end of Rock Island has endured that has produced blight. Blocks upon blocks of rundown and abandoned houses and buildings, city blocks that were once filled with homes and people are now sitting without houses or have one or two abandoned, neglected houses on that block. Blocks that have been overrun with overgrown weeds and trees, potholes in the streets. I strongly suspect that some people are voicing opinions about this area, an area they have never seen and or have never been in a position to care enough to consider beyond gardens, and cornfields. It appears that the city of Rock Island, those who have governed and made decisions, decided long ago to throw up their hands and decided that cleaning up, developing those once thriving and now houseless blocks by creating homes, etc., they decided it was a waste of time and a useless endeavor. This is evident by how easy it was to allow people to indiscriminately create gardens on many of the empty lots in and around the West End. Take a ride through the area and see for yourselves. What is the definition of community gardens? Must these gardens exist only in the West End? Are there spaces outside of that area, areas above the hill? The city of Rock Island has documentation dating back to the 1950s to present, which listed plans regarding ways to redevelop and invest in the West End community. I have personally seen and been a part of these discussions with community members and city staff over the years. Most recently, community members were tasked with the painstaking activity to once again discuss and vote with good faith on ways to improve conditions in the West End. These much-needed plans for improvements can no longer linger on shelves and be overlooked. How many plans have been written? For the past several years, I have spoken with people who live across the street from gardens that had sprung up across the street from where they live overnight about the uptick of rodents they have had to deal with. There are many voices that have not been heard or considered. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Bryce Wolford. Bryce.
Okay, it's my first time doing this. I'm a lot nervous, so bear with me. I'm here to speak on the Third Place QC Incorporated. It's ran by Mrs. Christie. She's doing an amazing job, and I've been in Rock Island for like a couple weeks. I've been to the course my second day, and I work with organizations from Chicago, Illinois that help we hire felons to deconstruct homes and rebuild them up. We give them jobs, we give them homes. And this is in the Chatham business area with a budget of like, the last time I checked, it was $800 million to get them to stop shooting and, so on and so forth. Now, I'm not sure that you guys probably have a budget like that, but from looking at the Third Place QC, with the little she has, and I don't know if she's using her own money, she's doing a lot of good for the West End, downtown Rock Island. I would say if anybody would be perfect for speaking to the people and seeing what kind of jobs we need on this downtown Rock Island, and I believe she could stretch it down, not as far as necessarily to the courts. There's more people of my caliber who kind of deal with stuff of that nature. So, yeah, keep the, I want Christie business to be here. Just give her a nudge to kind of give her, so she could take on more responsibility with the good she's doing for everyone in the community, and it shows. So that's all I got. Got to get to my kids. Just came to share some love and some knowledge with everybody. Rock Island is the most beautiful place I have seen in my whole life, and I grew up in Chicago, Memphis, and Mississippi. So I've done work in the Midwest and the South my whole life, and I love everybody as well. I mean well for everybody, and I know Christie does. And yeah, just give her a push, and if you want to take up some more responsibility, I believe she's up for the task, Christie, you want us to raise, please stand up so everybody know who you are. Please, 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 please. I did this for you, and I'm terrified. But yeah, that's all I got to say. I got to get to my kids, like I said, once again, and thank you for listening to me and hearing me out, and everybody be well and prosper. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Ron Lund.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm here to express serious concerns about this ordinance and its conflict with the Illinois Homeless Bill of Rights. Rather than helping to prevent and end homelessness, this ordinance risks creating new barriers for organizations serving our most vulnerable residents. Under the Illinois General Not-for-Profit Corporation Act, nonprofits are not required to submit internal governance documents to municipalities. Similarly, the Illinois Charitable Trust Act requires registration with the Attorney General, not local governments. These state laws preempt municipal regulation in this area, and the ordinance's additional disclosure requirements exceed what is authorized by law. Requiring board members and officers to disclose personal addresses raises serious privacy concerns, especially for volunteers working with sensitive populations. This ordinance provides no safeguards for confidentiality or protection from public disclosure, and this could discourage community members from serving on nonprofit boards, weakening our collective capacity to deliver essential services. The administrative burdens imposed by this ordinance would disproportionately affect smaller nonprofits with limited resources. It's unclear how requiring internal documents or personal information directly improves public health, safety, or welfare. The zoning restrictions are also deeply problematic. Prohibiting shelters within 1,000 feet of schools, parks, and recreational areas, while convicted sex offenders have a residency restriction of 500 feet. Are homeless people more of a threat to the city and its residents than sex offenders? A preliminary review identified over 138 such parks, schools, and et cetera locations covering more than 850 acres of city land. When applying a 1,000-foot buffer, the restricted area expands dramatically, potentially encompassing nearly all of Rock Island's 11,500 acres. Section 8577 of the ordinance sets a maximum occupancy of 49 individuals subject to fire marshal's determination, whichever is less. However, the Fire Investigation Act and the 41 Illinois Administrative Code Part 100, occupancy is determined by life safety codes, not municipal discretion, unless changed through a formal code amendment process that has not been done. The ordinance also requires individuals to sign documents upon entry, even if they are under the influence. In low barrier shelters, this is not only impractical, but legally invalid, as signed while inebriated are not enforceable. Finally, requiring providers to release client information and personally identifiable data violates multiple state laws, including the Homeless Bill of Rights, the Illinois Constitution, the Personal Information Protection Act, and laws governing confidentiality in health services. In conclusion, while I understand the city's intent is to ensure accountability, this ordinance presents significant legal, ethical, and practical challenges. I urge the council to reconsider its approach and work collaboratively with service providers to develop policies that support, not hinder, our shared mission to serve those in need. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dwight Ford. Mr. Dwight Ford.
Good evening, Mayor, and to the council. Dwight Ford, President and CEO of Project Now. I have returned back to this podium for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to allow my voice to ring out to say that it is my full urging that the council would vote and to deny this ordinance. And I say that not because I'm looking to put a thumb in the eye or poke a finger in the face of the city. I say that because this ordinance is ill-timed. Ill-timed because this is at a time when you're talking about reducing the possibilities of service providing for the most vulnerable on the backs of a 2026 cut of SNAP and Medicare, not to mention that there is a current reality of a government shutdown. We already have skyrocketing realities of homelessness and poverty in our geographical area that is leveraged to the attention of the entire state. We're number 6 in deep poverty in the entire state. I say that this ordinance should be denied because it is ill-prepared. Any amount of time, and I'm thankful that the council has reconsidered and will reconsider the crop reality, because you deduced in a short period of time that it wasn't prepared right. When we took a look at this in a short period of time with staffers, they called a number of us in to take a look at the first draft. Even in that brief moment, we picked the thing apart in minutes of saying this is going to complicate the reality of what you said you wanted as a city. And it's going to stain the image of an entire city with the region and have people looking at the city of Rock Island as if it cannot figure its own way forward. This hurts my heart to have to say that. It's ill-prepared, it's ill-timed, and it's irresponsible in a sense that we are trying to figure out a pathway forward, and anytime we craft legislation or regulation without building relationships, then it means that this is punitive. And when you have this type of ordinance, it makes as if those that are providers are demons or demonized, and those who are receiving the services are dehumanized, as if they are our problem in the city of Rock Island. People experiencing homelessness, and dare I say, there are so many in our city, because I know the poverty numbers, who are one paycheck, one sneeze, a prolonged cough of being out in the streets. And we can do much better than this. And Ron has already indicated, this thing is illegal. Let me just give a quick rundown once again. The Illinois Homeless Bill of Rights, the Illinois General Nonprofit Act, Illinois Charitable Choice Act, the Fire Inspection Act, Illinois Administrative Code and various violations inside of it, Illinois Constitution, and dare I say the U.S. Constitution. It has a reality of a personal reality of sharing information that should never go beyond the doorsteps of people that are providing, and the HIPAA Act. You're going to hear from people about this. I am standing before you to ask of you. I want to partner with you, but this isn't the way to do it. You have made of those that serve the poor an enemy of our council. I would rather have poverty as my enemy. I would rather come up here and give you the numbers of what we're doing to fight poverty. And here I am having to spend my time, which I will gladly do, exhorting the highest levels of political self-defense so that you don't hurt the people that we're trying to save. Thurgood Marshall said this: do what is right and the law will catch up. My standing here, the people that are standing here, the voices that you will hear are doing what's right. And I'm praying that the policy will catch up. I know we're trying to save and make sure we take care of Rock Island citizens. And we're wondering how many will be from other cities. Rock Island is in a unique state to lead the whole Quad Cities in this effort. You have every piece on the table. The sad reality of it, you may do this, and this is short-sighted. And what happens if we're not able to open up a winter overflow shelter? When someone, regardless of their zip code yesteryear, when they are frozen on the side of the concrete, dying of hypothermia, or in a back seat with 2 children and a woman, because that's the new face of homelessness, who have died because of carbon dioxide trying to stay warm in a vehicle when they could have been in our shelter. I'm asking you, I'm pleading with you, don't vote yes for this.
Don't do it.
Derek Moen. Derek Moen.
Thank you. Derek, something Eon. Derek, maybe Preon. What's your last name, sir?
Penn, P-E-N-N.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, sir. Sorry about that.
So I'm only here to find out, what are you guys going to do about all the shooting we had lately? We have a problem, sir. Ever since that bar opened up and stuff, it seemed like the bar was closed down and all the necessary stuff stopped. All the craziness, all the violence, all the shooting, all the bad things start coming to the end. But then all of a sudden, when that bar opened back up, we back at the same spot, we stopped again. This is just like living in Chicago. I was born in Chicago. I stayed ducked every time they be out there shooting. You can't expect people to keep up everything they got just because you guys is not doing your jobs right. And have the police to come down at the end or something, they drive through and keep on moving. They don't stay out there long enough to make sure the people out in the parking lot. Those kids and stuff are constantly, they not even kids, they're junior adults, because they all over 30. Now, I serve my country proudly, and don't get me wrong, there ain't nothing I won't do for my country. I will put my life on the line again if I have to, if they ask me. I got no problem with it and stuff. But if you guys are not going to help us and stuff, then what's the business here? I might as well just move back to Chicago and listen to the crap up there again and get shot at every other day. This is wild. So when is this going to stop? You tell me when, and I'll feel more happy. But thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sandy DeMeyer. Sandy DeMeyer.
Hi, I'm just here because I live by the bar that Derek was speaking of. I've owned my home for 25 years there. You guys talk about maintaining property. Thought I was doing a pretty good job till Saturday night when I had 3 bullets come through my house from the fight that led at the bar. Then I get up this morning like the 3 bullets and the broken windows that I got to pay for now isn't enough. My car was vandalized. My mirrors were ripped out of my car because of what's going on over there. I just don't know what's going to be done. 25 years of living there, and I've never had bullets flying through my house before. I worked my entire life for that house, and right now I'm ready to sell it and move away because nobody's safe. I have a letter from one of the neighbors that have lived in that neighborhood over 50 years that's scared to go out on his porch because he fears for his life. I just want to know if there, I was told there was over 100 complaints on this bar. Why did it take 101 bullets coming through somebody's house before something was done about it? I'm just need something done. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Brenda Drake.
Hi, my name is Brenda Drake. I live at 2709 5th and a Half Avenue. I am also severely handicapped. I'm 85% deaf. When somebody shoots at my house, and I did have a bullet hit the house, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it when the police came. I didn't hear it when the fire department came. I want to feel safe in my home. I rely on my neighbors and my pets to let me know when things are going on. But sometimes when I sleep, my hearing aids come out and I hear nothing. I could have got up, let my dogs out, not knowing, and been shot. I think I work. I take care of my property the best I can. I need to feel safe because once I take these out, I hear nothing. I didn't hear them bullets. So I just want something done. I want the bar closed. So I don't have to worry anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Rashida Jameson.
Hello, everybody. All right, so I came prepared today. I plan to speak on a couple of different things. However, I noticed that some of it was taken off of the agenda. So I'm going to focus on the one main thing, which of course everybody is talking about tonight, and that's the social service licensing ordinance. So for those you don't know, my name is Rashida Jameson. I'm a resident. I'm a business owner. I'm a community advocate. I also work with a lot of small businesses to try and get through the red tape, right? So one of the things I want to focus on is how this was worded and the clarity that it's not giving to the people that are actually trying to understand what you're saying. Outside of just, oh, we're trying to stop the homelessness, there's a lot of red lines that people can't read through. So I want to focus on number one, the one-size-fit-all model that doesn't work. I don't feel like the ordinance is putting emergency shelters, long-term group homes, church ministries, people that are doing single living, family-style living, all under one restrictive policy. So it's kind of putting everything all together, and it's not allowing any room for structure in that space. There's nothing tiered. There's nothing giving them the opportunity to say, because you are this size or because you are this size, everything just has the same thing. I feel like that's a lazy policy, because family-style homes that serve as permanent or stable housing are being treated like short-term crisis programs. Everybody that's in these homes are not clients. Everybody that's in this home is also not homeless. But even if they are, there shouldn't be a time limit or something structured around how long you can be here or what you're able to receive from being in this housing if someone is trying to house them. The next thing, the 49-person cap. To me, personally, that sounds unfair. Being said that, number one, 49, even though it seems reasonable, but if you think about it again, we're looking at a sober living home that may only house 6 to 12 people. They're being forced to comply with the same structural, architectural, and licensing standards as a 49-bed institutional shelter. So this is not asking for a free-for-all. This is asking for a tiered policy that matches the scale and style of care for the type of people that are being housed. Then you look at the 12-hour operating limit that you guys put in here. That's like a forced eviction. So what you're saying is a 12-hour limit forces people back out onto the streets at the end of the day. So it's going to punish organizations that are actually offering overnight safety or actually giving them an opportunity to feel safe in a space to ignore the reality of how trauma enforced this care and saying you only have 12 hours that you can operate, which means either I can operate in the day or I can operate in the night, but I can't do both. That's not fair. So then when we look into also going into the written exit agreements that you guys have in there, you're not giving them that security. So requiring all residents to sign an agreement that they'll eventually leave may work for a shelter, but what about people that are in supporting housing? What if they're actually living in a family-styled home care that you guys have just grouped together into this same policy? You're not leaving that open. So then we also go into the 500-foot public objection rule. So personally, if you ask me, that's legalized discrimination. Because what if neighbors don't like this person? So the moment they see their name on a piece of paper, you're giving them the opportunity to say, hey, no, I don't want anything that they're doing in this. So now that leaves it open. But then also on top of that, you're giving all of this control to one person, and that's the city manager. There's no appeals process. This ordinance has full decision-making power. He's not an elected official, all right? This is an appointed position. So there's no appeal, no community board, no city council vote, no checks and balances, no nothing. It's just a decision that says if he says it goes, it goes. Where is that fair? It's not. So now when we look at that, what we're asking for, the people are coming and constantly coming up here and asking you to just bring fairness to the city. So your job is you are working for the people. So if you're working for the people, there shouldn't be, once again, a one-size-fit-all. We're going to create this policy that we feel works and push it out there. There should be something that adjusts for the people that actually want to help the problem. Because if they're here to help the problem, why would you stop them from helping the problem that Rock Island has? So we get down to the bottom. I just ask that if you vote on this, again, if you vote, you've made your decision and your priorities clear that you are not for the people. But what you're doing is you're accepting a policy that treats people like paperwork rather than humans. So I hope you don't vote on that today. Thank you.
Ms. Farrell.
I'm Hannah Farrell. I had the pleasure of taking the elevator with you.
Yes.
I said, is this the mayor? Is this the mayor? Okay, we're on the 3rd floor. So I am here to speak on the 3rd place. Just hoping to keep them open. When it comes to homelessness, I was homeless for about 2 years until I got my apartment downtown. I know it's the majority of it is poverty and low-income housing and homelessness in the District of Rock Island. So when it comes to homelessness, generally it's kind of a breakdown in everybody's life where, you know, when it comes to trauma. And most people go back home when all this happens or something like that. But when it comes to homelessness, you know, home isn't safe. There's either abuse, there's trauma, something's wrong with your family where you can't come back. So when you come to homelessness, it's kind of a restart of your basic needs. You're restarting your basic needs. So everybody who is homeless, you know, has to learn to come back to their basic needs. So that means getting yourself fed, getting yourself clothed, just getting your needs met, staying clean, anything like that. So when we have a place like this, and we have not had a place like this in, on this side of the river, the whole time I was homeless. A place to sit, a place to be safe. When you are during homelessness, you should be filling out your paperwork to get into, you know, housing or anything like that. We now have a place to sit and do that. It basically consisted upon of, you know, running around all day, trying to get your needs met. This is now a place we can do that on this side of the river. Usually it was just walking over the river, walking back because people want to return home, to return to their community. When people are on the street, you know, we have the bus stop, we have, you know, the city streets. Now there's a place where we don't have to be sitting on the block, we don't have to be at the bus stop. If that is angering the general public, well, there's now a place for that. We don't have to do that anymore. So, you know, it's open till 4. They serve all the basic needs. We can get a snack there. We can get any type of clothing, anything like that. And we haven't had that on this side of the river in a very long time. So it is really appreciated by the entire community, the entire, you know, poverty down there. That is really appreciated. So we do really want to keep that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We are at the end of our allowed public comment time, but I do want to acknowledge and read off the names of the people who didn't get a chance to speak. I know a few of them left, but still. Zadre Singleton, they were speaking on the bar on Fifth Avenue. Dorella Singleton, same topic. Ian Forslung, Urban Ag, and Natalie Yates, and also Ann McGuinn. I just wanted to call off your names and say I'm apologize that you guys didn't get a chance to speak. So moving on. Where are we at? Okay. Item 8, update Rock Island. Fright Night in the Park. Get your costumes ready for a free holiday event just for kids. Goodwill of the Heartland and Rock Island Parks and Recreation proudly present Fright Night in the Park on Thursday, October 23rd from 5 to 7 p.m. at Schwiebert Riverfront Park. This fun and safe Halloween event will feature trick-or-treating, a costume contest, a live DJ, and dance performances. The first 500 children will receive a free goodie bag. Secret guest judges will roam the park, awarding costume contest prize certificates to those with the best costumes. Free public lecture series. The Freeze Lectures, a free public lecture series at the Rock Island Public Library, continues for its 28th year from October 23rd to November 13th. This year's series will consider subjects related to death, Dying and Mortality Through the Lenses of Psychology, Art, Poetry, and Anthropology. All presentations begin at 2 p.m. at downtown Rock Island Public Library, 401 19th Street, Rock Island. The lectures are open to the public and free of charge. The first lecture on October 23rd is titled Death and the Psychologist, presented by Dr. Jane Rose, Professor Emerita of Psychology. Item 10.
Passage of ordinances and resolutions. A, an ordinance establishing regulations on urban agriculture, second reading.
Motion to accept. Pass the ordinance.
I would like to make a motion to postpone the adoption of the ordinance to allow time for additional refinement and community input. That community input would include a community engagement plan that would include the following stakeholders: West End residents of diverse backgrounds, including those frustrated by untended gardens, gardeners, community organizations, including the nonprofits, Community Caring Conference, and West End Revitalization, city staff and council members. And the purpose would be to understand interests and concerns as far as food insecurity, property rights, neighborhood cleanliness, equity, and inclusion.
Just as a point of order, Alderwoman Barnes, I'm not going to make you repeat that, but first I need to make sure that Alderman Evans's motion fails if there's no second, because that was pending first. So the motion on the floor taking priority is first Alderman Evans' motion. I need to know if there's a second for that to pass the ordinance. Okay. Seeing none, we will now move on to Alderwoman Barnes' motion.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Indefinitely, or the first, as staff suggested?
Did you have
first meeting of the new year?
Did you have a meeting date?
I would say the first meeting in January as proposed.
Okay, and just for clarification, it's a motion to postpone, not a motion to table, just because it's different Robert's rules for that.
And we can't talk about it now, correct?
You can talk about a motion to postpone, you cannot talk about a motion to table, so yes, you may discuss.
I think the motion that you're talking about is just to get this right. So there's been a lot of clarification. I've had a lot of emails, I'm sure everyone else has. You know, we want to do right by the residents. So that's why I'm going to vote to table, postpone it.
My concerns is, first of all, when I ran for this seat, as I walked and I knocked on those doors, these was the complaints I was getting. And when I stated that I was coming down here to be the voice for the first ward, that's what we've tried to do with this ordinance. It's been out of control. We need to make sure that we do something for the residents that I represent. We need real changes, and we've been kicking this can down the road for too long. It needs to be addressed. And even though you're talking about moving it to January, the reality is the staff needs the ability to get their paperwork in order before the new season comes around. I don't agree with taking this and moving it to January. I think it needs to be resolved now. Thank you.
So, just, I guess to clarify that a little bit, I understand your frustration. I do think, however, that as we look at it as it's proposed right now, the way it started out, and now it's reverting back to allowing things in the front yard, so I feel like it really hasn't changed a whole lot in your favor. This does allow for some time to maybe readdress those and have a better discussion. Otherwise, I feel like all we're doing is, the only change really is the 10-foot offset and then rain barrels and whatever, but it seems like everything else stays the same, so I think it's a good opportunity to revisit this, and like Bill said, or Alderman Healy, to get it right.
I just believe if it was in you guys' wards, it wouldn't be a discussion. It's in my ward. 95% of those gardens are in First Ward, and the people in First Ward deserve to have their neighborhood just like yours. So I disagree.
I do want to say I am going to vote for the postponement, but I do support what you are saying. In my ward, I have people calling me because their neighbor's grass is 4 inches tall and they can't handle it. I have people in my ward calling because bushes and trees are extending into their yard and they can't handle it. There's trash in their neighbor's yard and they're all upset about that. I get the majority of my calls are nuisance calls exactly like that. And I take care of them and make sure that they're taken care of and cleaned up and fixed, and Public Works goes and cleans up what they need to. And I do personally feel that the residents of Ward 1 and anybody else that is dealing with the gardens deserves that same respect and that same clarity that everybody else in the city gets. When you get a property nuisance claim, you go ahead and take care of it.
When I said to get it right, I mean, I agree with that as well. And the fact that, you know, I got a call last week because a neighbor's cat took a poop on their doorstep. I mean, that's legit. So it's stuff like that that, you know, we have to take care of the first ward. And I think we just need to get it right. I'm sure you're getting both sides of it, Alderman Evans. You know, it's to try to make it fair to everybody and equitable to everybody. And that's the reason I am for the ordinance, but I just want to get it right.
I would agree with that, and I think because we're going into a non-growing season, that does give us time to get it right and get this put into place by the time that, would you be in agreement with that?
I was going to say, I agree too. It just gives us more time to get it right, not to be repeating, get it right for those who are affected on the West End, because I think the current ordinance really doesn't do enough to address those concerns and complaints.
And, you know, I agree. You know, I agree with Alderperson Evans. You know, the people of the First Ward, they deserve the same curb appeal, the opportunity for that. To not have the same issues that other wards have. You know, that's why I kind of asked Miles the question on how did this become such a first ward thing. But at the same time, we as a community, we do not want to go against anything pertaining to gardening. We just want to make sure that rats and rodents and snakes aren't getting in the neighbor's yard. But Rock Island, the city, is practically a food desert. We shouldn't be going against anything pertaining to farming, pertaining to residents having the opportunity to feed off the land that's right there in their neighborhood. So you know, that is the main point here. You know, I would rather, you know, with all due respect, I would rather be good than look good. I would rather not be hungry and with corn in my yard or in my neighbor's yard, as opposed to the opposite of that. So I respect all opinions, and I am in favor of, you know, pushing this back until we get it right. But, you know, with us being, you know, practically a food desert, especially in the First Ward, within reason, you know, this is something that we all should be encouraging, all of us, the whole city. That's all I have. Clerk, please call the roll.
One moment, Mayor. I would also like to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
I do not support this ordinance. I haven't. I voted no on the last time. I am getting closer to supporting it by the changes that have been recommended, and I'm supporting postponing it so that maybe we can reach a point of compromise. It is a matter of compromise, as Miles said. I think that what has been proposed is it infringes too much on the rights of people to garden, and I sympathize with the rights of their neighbors to have safe, healthy, clean environment. But my bigger point, and I've said this in meetings previously, I heard the public commenter talk about her neighborhood, and we're not going to put homes on these vacant lots and have full neighborhoods with houses and businesses and the things that we want to see in the West End by regulating gardens. I think I said it last time, we're not going to get homes by banning corn, right? I mean, again, I understand the desire to address nuisances, but we're really missing, and I'm reminded of the conversation we had on this council when we limited bar hours till 2 a.m., where, limiting bars was not what got us to some of the improvements that we see today in downtown Rock Island. It was actually investing more in downtown Rock Island through the special service area that we struggled for years to establish, and now we're seeing the results, right? So if we want houses in the West End instead of cornfields, if we want commercial areas and businesses in the West End, we need to do something similar like what we've done downtown, special service areas, leveraging TIFs, etc. In addition, I'm going to call again that this council should consider a local real estate transfer fee to fund the plethora of housing needs that our community has. The other controversial issue on the agenda tonight is regulating service providers, and as we all know, the solution to homelessness is more houses. Same thing as what you want to accomplish on the west side. We should be both pursuing making sure that gardens are safe and clean and kept up, while also pursuing ways in which we can build houses in Rock Island. And I reiterate my call for a local real estate transfer fee or some programming that can actually add to this equation. Thank you very much.
Just to add to that, we've got a West End revitalization project going on right now in the First Ward. These lots should be tied into what they're doing, not just growing for gardens. That helps to revise that community. And it should have never been sold the way it was to begin with. But how do we fix it? We start here with this hard conversation. There's too many people that are complaining that they shouldn't get up and look outside their yard and see buckets and everything else in gardens that's not being kept. Those are great real estate properties that should be looked at differently than just giving out for a garden. So, like I said, it's very frustrating because the people in my ward really are sick and tired of having to wake up and see this. There was properties up on 24th and 24th that they was growing corn right in that front yard that didn't last 2 months. I would love to see everyone that's around this council that's disagreeing with passing this tonight, have them in your yard. Let's move them to your area and then see what you say, whether you want to have it or not. This really bothers me, and I'm not going to say it doesn't, because my residents have been sick and tired of being sick and tired. We got bad streets, we got houses dilapidated, and now we got corn and other things growing up. What about the people that have spent 30 years buying these properties, and now their properties are being devalued based on this? We got to do something in the First Ward. I'm sorry. It's a priority, and we need change, and it starts here. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Does everyone know where we are? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy?
Aye.
Evans?
No.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
10B.
Report for the Community Development Department regarding a resolution providing for a feasibility study on the designation of the North Rock Island Port District redevelopment plan and project area.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second. There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Sorry, just
excuse me. Hold on.
one question. On the map that says area to be transferred to North Rock Island Port District, TIF from North 11th Street, what area is included in there? What streets? I know, but what? Can't tell which streets those are. Where does that start?
So if you pull it up, the hatched overlap portion on the north end, so where you see both the yellow and the turquoise overlapping, that's where what is currently in the North 11th Street TIF, we will explore whether or not it should be moved into the new TIF. Again, exploring what exact boundaries we should use is part of the planning process. These are just kind of the most extensive boundaries that have been discussed so far.
I was just wondering, what was that street right between the pink and the yellow grid?
Oh, between the pink is the downtown TIF. That is, I believe, 13th Street.
Any more discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Healy? Aye. Evans?
Aye.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
Aye.
Swanson? Aye. Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
10C.
Report from administration regarding a resolution exempting the third place QC from the city's moratorium on new social service uses.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call,
First,
please.
I appreciate this being on the agenda. As many people know, I had some concerns regarding whether the third place was going to be exempted from the moratorium, and so I'm glad that it's here in a public meeting for us to vote on. And then secondly, I do not support this, and I hope that the third place and their supporters understand it comes from a process perspective. I welcome the third place in downtown Rock Island. I support grandfathering you in from the ordinance. You are going to be a part of our community. However, we had a moratorium in place for a reason. It's because your neighbors have communicated to me that they want licensed facilities, which is what we are hoping to accomplish here this evening. So exempting a location from the moratorium before we have the licensing defeats the whole point of why we took that difficult vote a month or so ago on the moratorium in the first place. I hope you understand. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Healy?
Aye.
Evans?
Aye.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Parker?
No.
Pulis?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 11. I did. Okay, yeah, I didn't hear anything, but please, those in attendance, please be respectable. We are going through issues that are, you know, passionate for a lot of people, but please show your common person respect. Thank you.
Are you telling me that just passed? Mr. Mayor, that just passed?
Excuse me?
If you're going to make,
Yes.
if you're going to make comments on what's going on up here, make sure you know what's going on.
Yeah. Item 11.
A, report from general administration regarding an ordinance establishing a social services license, first reading.
Move to consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Real quickly, in case anybody did not know, there is not a cap on this. And just to clarify, I heard those comments earlier, but just so that everyone's aware.
Any more discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Healy?
Aye.
Evans?
Aye.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
No.
Swanson?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
Motion carries.
11B.
Report from the Traffic Engineering Committee regarding a request from Eugene Neal, 1201 18th Avenue, to install a handicap parking space north of his driveway on 12th Street, first reading.
Motion to consider the ordinance.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy? Aye. Evans?
Aye.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
11C.
Report from the Traffic Engineering Committee regarding a request and petition from Benjamin DeBischoff to remove the residential parking zone on the west side of 22nd Street from 16th to 18th Avenue, first reading.
Move to consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy? Aye. Evans?
Aye.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
Aye.
Swanson?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
11E.
D.
Oh, excuse me, D.
Report from the Traffic Engineering Committee regarding a request and petition from Benjamin DeBisschop to update the no parking zone on the east side of 22nd Street from 16th to 18th Avenue to include on-school days from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. first reading.
Move to consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Healy. Aye. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
11E.
Report from the Community Development Department regarding amendments to the city's zoning ordinance for accessory buildings and dwellings in residential districts, first reading.
Move to approve the amendments, consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Item F.
Report from the Community Development Department regarding amendments to the city's zoning ordinance for retail tobacco businesses, first reading.
Motion to approve the amendments and consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Item G.
Report from administration regarding a real estate agreement for the sale of 2001 Fifth Avenue and 2016 Fifth Avenue to Fresh Films LLC, first reading.
Move to approve the sale, authorize the city manager to execute the documents, consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy. Aye. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Agenda item 12.
Consent agenda items A through H.
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through H.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes. I would like to request a review for all previous council and new council, just to keep everyone up to speed on internal operations policy and council expenses at some point, just so that everyone's on the same page here.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Agenda item 13.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding payment to J.C. Dillon Incorporated, Peoria, Illinois for water service repair program and sewer lateral repair program repairs in the amount of $125,726.72. B, report from Public Works Department regarding a payment to Miller Trucking Excavating, Silvis, Illinois for an emergency water main repair at 4313 29th Avenue in the amount of $43,152.09. Item C, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment to Crawford Company, Rock Island, Illinois for the Sunset Marina electrical upgrades project in the amount of $81,787.77. Item D, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment to Somerset Marine Construction, Whitewater, Wisconsin for the Sunset Marina dock replacement project in the amount of $957,480.25.
Motion to allow claims A through D.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Due to the nature of my employment, I need to recuse myself from this vote.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Item E.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding payment to the Illinois Department of Transportation, Springfield, Illinois for 85th Avenue West and Rock Island Parkway intersection project in the amount of $158,398.89.
Motion to allow the claim.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Healy. Aye. Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Palis.
Aye.
Item F.
Report from the Public Works Department requesting authorization to purchase holiday decorations from Holiday Outdoor Decor, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, in the amount of $12,422.
Move to approve the purchase.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Palis.
Aye.
Item B.
Or
Oh,
14.
excuse me. Excuse me. Item 14, excuse me.
Item A, report from General Administration regarding an amendment to the interagency agreement for the 31st Street Reconstruction Project ARPA restricted funds, extending the project completion deadline from December 31st, 2025 to September 30th, 2026. Item B, report from General Administration regarding an amendment to the interagency agreement for the Advanced Metering Infrastructure Project ARPA restricted funds, extending the project completion deadline from December 31st, 2025 to September 30th, 2026. C, report from General Administration regarding an amendment to the interagency agreement for the Federal Courthouse Project ARPA restricted funds, extending the project completion deadline from December 31st, 2025 to September 30th, 2026. Item D, report from General Administration regarding the amendment to the interagency agreement for the 35th Street Parkway Project ARPA restricted funds, extending the project completion deadline from December 31st, 2025 to September 30th, 2026. Item E, report from General Administration regarding an amendment to the interagency agreement for the Southwest Treatment Plant Project ARPA restricted funds, extending the project completion deadline from December 31st, 2025 to September 30th, 2026.
Motion to approve the interagency agreements A through E and authorize the city manager to execute the documents.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes. Could someone, for those of us that are new on the council, explain these interagency agreements?
The notion of the interagency agreements was you had to have the money for the ARPA either spent or obligated by a certain date. One method by which you could obligate the money was to have an interagency agreement essentially with yourself for a specific purpose and a specific dollar amount.
So is this something that's federally required, or was it just something that was?
It was trying to meet the federal requirement that the money either be spent or obligated. So you could have had a contract with a vendor, one way to obligate the funds. But in this case, they allowed for interagency agreements, which is essentially, as you see here, an agreement between departments to do a certain function with a certain dollar amount.
Probably have questions on the next set, but that's okay.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Palis.
Aye.
Item F.
Report from General Administration regarding amendments to the interagency agreement with the Finance Department for the continued administration of ARPA funds, increasing the amount by $109,075.82, ARPA restricted, for salaries and benefits, and extending the completion deadline from December 31st, 2025 to December 31st, 2026.
Motion to approve the agreement, the amendments to the agreement, and authorize the city manager to execute the document.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, can we get more information on the salaries and benefits, as far as the ARPA money? At what point were the funds expended for salary and benefits?
They can't hear you.
I'd ask Jessica to provide some detail on that.
At what point were they expended?
Yeah, at what point were the salary and benefits expended as far as the ARPA dollars?
We've been allocating 80% of the ARPA manager's salary, the entire portion of the ARPA funding. At this point with the IAI agreement that we have, For 2025, we allocated, again, that same 80% in the 2025 adopted budget. So with the exclusion of her position, now that that position's terminated and we're not moving that forward any longer, we'll be taking those funds and transferring them over to, I guess, my salary and then the finance manager's salary, since we'll be doing those positions. So it's not additional money that we're getting because we're taking on the extra work. We'll just be allocating a portion of our salaries to the ARPA fund instead of the general fund for a little bit of 2025 and then what we can for 2026 using the remaining dollars that we have allocated if council approves. If not, we can move those funds to any one of the IAA agreements that we've got open right now. Those funds can only be moved to one of the projects that we have an open agreement with, since everything's already been obligated.
Any more discussion?
I would just request that item F be pulled from this group and just voted on. Well, it is by itself, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Does everyone know where we are? Yes.
Yeah.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Healy? Evans?
Aye.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
No.
Swanson?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item G.
Report from General Administration regarding an amendment to the interagency agreement for the Rock Island Parkway project, decreasing the amount by $175,311.11, ARPA restricted, for a total project amount of $175,375.11.
Motion to approve the amendment to the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the document.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy? Aye. Evans?
Aye.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
No.
Swanson?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Item H.
Report from General Administration regarding an amendment to the interagency agreement for the purchase of fire trucks, increasing the amount by $40,659.26, ARPA restricted, for unbudgeted equipment and hardware.
Motion to approve the amendment to the to the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the documents.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy? Aye. Evans?
Aye.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
No.
Swanson?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
And Pulis. Motion carries.
Item J.
Report from General Administration regarding an amendment to the interagency agreement for the installation of P25 station alerting system, increasing the amount by $19,737.53, ARPA restricted, to cover expanded project costs and ongoing maintenance.
Just point of clarification, it's item I. I think you accidentally said item J.
Oh,
But you
sorry,
you read
item
item
I.
I. So I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. We're at item I.
Oh, I make that mistake every time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks.
Motion to approve the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the document.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy?
Aye.
Evans?
Aye.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
No.
Swanson?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item J.
Report from General Administration regarding an amendment to the interagency agreement for public safety initiatives, increasing the amount by $5,902.50, ARPA restricted, for a total project amount of $257,902.50.
Move to approve the amendment to the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the document.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderperson Healy?
Aye.
Evans?
Aye.
Hurt?
Aye.
Barnes?
No.
Swanson?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item K.
Report from the Legal Department regarding the authorization of a settlement in 2019 L34.
Motion to approve and set the settlement payment.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson. Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Item L.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding bids for a sanitary main replacement between 42nd and 43rd Street south of 29th Avenue be awarded to Langman Construction, Rock Island, Illinois, in the amount of $183,612.34.
Motion to award the bid and authorize the city manager to execute the contract documents.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Due to the nature of my employment, I need to recuse myself from this vote.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson. And Pulis.
Aye.
Agenda item M.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a parking lot and dumpster enclosure easement agreement with Modern Woodman for First Avenue between 17th and 18th Streets.
Motion to approve the amendment or the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute documents.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson. Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Agenda item 15.
Item A, report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the MLK Activity Fund 900 in the amount of $45,500. Item B, report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the MLK Activity Fund 900 in the amount of $3,000. Item C, report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the MLK Activity Fund 900 in the amount of $30,000. Item D, report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the MLK Activity Fund 900 in the amount of $200,000. Item E, report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the MLK Activity Fund 900 in the amount of $25,000. Item F, report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the MLK Activity Fund 900 in the amount of $75,000. And item G, report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the Downtown TIF Fund 409 in the amount of $12,422.
Motion to approve the budget adjustments A through G.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
I actually do have a question for Mr. Jones. I see there's about $120,000 in consultant work approved for next year. How can we cut that down so we can actually use that $120,000 towards something? I agree we need to know what to do, but I think we have some bright people down in that area, and you have a lot of people that want to help. And I just want to see that. I would rather see that money go into the West End than see it go out for someone telling us we need to revitalize the West End. We know that. So that $120,000, I think, could, I mean, you give 12 homes $10,000. You give 24 homes $5,000. That goes a longer way, in my opinion, than sending it to a consulting company that's going to say, hey, we need to reinvest in the West End, or we need to have them show pride in their homes. I'm just trying to keep it in-house is all that I have a question about.
Are you referring to the Better Health Foundation grant?
There's a bunch of them. So I'm just looking at, I'm making kind of a general statement because a lot of these transfers, there's about $120,000 in transfers over all of these when I added them up, that they all just go towards consultant work. Is all I care about is getting every dollar that goes into the West End is better for the city of Rock Island and is better for the residents than giving it to a company out of Texas that's going to write a brief that says you need to do something. So that's all I care about.
We will certainly take a look at all those and make sure that we have every opportunity to invest within the West End of Rock Island. Some of these consultant services aren't necessarily going to consultants. It's the line item description that goes into, and we may be paying people within the West End of Rock Island to provide some of the services that we need. But I will get you more details on that, and we'll do some more analysis on that as well.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any more discussion?
I just want to iterate that I agree with what he's saying over there.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Swanson. Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Item 16.
Motion to close the regular city council meeting and convene the Rock Island Regional Port District meeting.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Is item B. Is there any business to discuss?
Tom, you got anything?
Yes, I briefly, Council, before the meeting, I set a flyer on your chairs, giving you a heads up to a public event. We're going to have actually two public events next week. The first one they'll both be on Wednesday, October 22nd. The first one will be from 3 to 5. It is a SWOT workshop. SWOT stands for Strengths, Weaknesses, Opportunities, and Threats. It will be a public meeting, but it's not a public meeting. It's open to the public. But it's really focused in on our steering committee. Then at 5 o'clock, from 5 to 6:30, we'll have an open house. Again, the public is encouraged to come in. Less scripted. People feel free to ask questions, get a better idea of what this port is capable of. Also on this sheet, you will see that the Port Steering Committee has now adopted a mission statement and a vision statement. The mission of the port will to act as an industrial site developer, infrastructure catalyst, and strategic convener, aligning public and private investments to drive economic opportunity. And the vision we have for the Port District will be the driving force behind Rock Island's economic resurgence, leveraging river, rail, road, land, and other assets to expand and attract future-focused, high-impact industries.
And Sarah has a plan to get this out to the community so everybody knows about it, I hope.
Always glad to do what I can.
That's a great answer.
Anything else?
That's it.
Can I have a motion to exit the Rock Island Port Authority and reconvene the regular city council?
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Item 17. Does anybody have any other business to discuss?
Yeah, real quickly. So, Chief, just for public, I've been getting blasted with, probably everybody else has here too, about the situation with all the little mini bikes speeding around and why we can't until we have a no pursuit policy. Do we have we thought about any other ways to handle this situation other than not?
Yeah, it's a tough situation for sure. Usually when we go to try to make a traffic stop, they're going to accelerate beyond safe speeds, and it's just going to be too great of a threat to the community to continue on with that pursuit. If we can figure out where they're at and conduct an investigation there, and we might be able to impound the vehicle for an investigation and issue the proper tickets if we can figure out who's driving it. But you can understand how challenging it can be, but we do share your concerns.
Yeah, we've had that conversation several times. I feel like I've just been inundated with phone calls regarding that, and I think we all feel that frustration a little bit. So just kind of so that they know, anybody that may be listening, that they know, why we don't go after them like that. So, and to let them know that their voice is being heard. Thank you.
I know he's got you on the hot spot, but I got to come in there as well. These shootings, 14th, between 12th and 13th Avenue, is there any way to expedite lighting in that alley on those blocks? I'm getting bombarded with these calls. This has just became monotonous. I mean, it's been 3 different shootings over there, actually 4 now, within less than a month. I know you can't always decide when somebody's going to pull the trigger, but something's got to give. Those residents are scared over there, and they shouldn't have to live that way.
Yeah, I can't really speak to the lighting as much. That's more of the Public Works and Mid-American's purview. However, I will tell you that we do have a arrest that was made today, and we'll be putting some information out about that tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
I've been seeing, it's not exactly mini bikes, but in the IML e-newsletters, they've been calling for what e-bike ordinances communities have passed around the country. I don't think we really have many, I don't see many e-bikes in our community. I don't think we have a challenge in that regard, but perhaps we could learn something from how other Illinois municipalities are regulating e-bikes that might be helpful in regulating mini bikes and ATVs and stuff like that. So just an idea.
And I have one thing. So I just found out tonight, listening at public comment about the shooting at this bar. And I'm concerned about that because it affects residents. And I am really, I don't know the details, but I am just really, really hoping that if there is a bar in town and there is shooting and there are issues with it, that we do something regarding liquor licensing, shutting them down, whatever. But it's ridiculous that residents who live near a bar have to be fearful of bullets coming into their home in the car, and bar owners need to be held responsible for the conduct of their patrons because they have served them the alcohol that has caused this.
Yeah, Deanna's Place has been on my radar for quite a few months now. I've been in communication with the police chief and the mayor for a few months now. It's my understanding that actions are taking place, and as I've encouraged the mayor many times over the past few months, I encourage you to use the full extent of the law against this establishment. They are not welcomed by their neighbors. I received several complaints, phone calls, emails. You saw many of my constituents here tonight. This establishment is not a good neighbor, and I would not be sorry if we fully prosecuted what we can do against them.
And I believe the report's coming tomorrow, right, Chief, to the mayor?
Yeah, we're putting some of the finer points on the violation that's coming, but we're pretty much we're about 95% done on that.
Okay, thank
I have been over at this location and I've talked to them. Back to what we were talking about, lighting. They've been having issues getting their parking lot lit up. The other thing is that she has tried to get off-duty law enforcement officers to come and assist her, because you get a lot of these patrons don't ever go into the bar. They want to hang out in the parking lot. So she can't control that, even though I've seen her try to put barricades and stuff out there so that they're not sitting in her lot. She's hired the security. She's tried to do all of the things that she could based on a property owner or a business. Sometimes I think we drop the ball because they're not getting all of the assistance that they need. And like I said, I know she's been asking for lighting over there, and she's actually been working on her own lighting. But there's a pole right in the center of that alley that can actually remove a lot of the dark spots. They're gonna come regardless of where it is. It's being able to get that assistance, and I don't think she's got it yet.
She can file for a city to put that under a city ordinance lot and have any car towed out at any time that she wants. Correct, Chief?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That would be my first step.
Has she actually applied for all the officers to come and get that money?
No.
The sheriff department too. They say they could never get anybody to come over here. She was ready to pay the officer to be here to alleviate her staff have to deal with these, because you have to understand.
Again, I don't want to cut anyone off, and I appreciate this discussion, but I do want to counsel everyone that the matter is under investigation, and whether or not we proceed with any liquor ordinance violations is still being considered. So I wouldn't want any comments made today to color that decision negatively or positively, and to really impact any appeals process that might take place if there is any disciplinary action that takes place. So you guys are obviously free to comment on the situation, but I would just emphasize the fact that it is under investigation and we have not taken any proceedings yet.
Thank you, Leslie.
So noted, Chief. We'll meet face to face and have a conversation. All right. No other alderman. Won't be open meeting.
Is there any more business to discuss? Item 18. Item 18. Can I get a motion to enter closed session?
Closed session.
Sorry.
5 ILCS 122C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body.
Move to enter closed session for the exemption cited.
There's been a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?